that's better.
67.
Well, good evening and welcome to Thursday night Stimulator Racing, or as I've called it so far, Brian Chu beating up on his mates here at Racecraft Simulations. We are getting set to go racing for the feature event, and there's no surprises here. Brian Chu has qualified on the pole. Loading up Project Cars 2, we are racing the Porsche Cayman GT4 at the Dubai Autodrome National Circuit with Brian Chu on the pole spot. We'll follow him away from the start as the boys are running through the Racecraft Simulation Centre, getting everybody readied up and getting set to go racing. Brian Chu on the pole, Kelvin Wee into the second spot, Julius Yap into third, James Cham in fourth, Eric Tufar starting from P5, Vincent Tan from P6, Vong Do from 7, Terence Ho from the 8th spot, and Samuel Cham rounding out your 9-car starting grid. Everybody looks to be just about readied up here in Racecraft Simulations. And Brian Chu starting with full lock left is not going to be going very well. Banged it into reverse on the starting grid. We got a big jump start from the second row of the grid. Brian Chu is going to lose a couple of spots here. James Chow from the second row with that jump start jumps to the lead. We'll see if he can survive under brakes into turn one. Oh no, they're rubbing door panels into turn one. Brian Chu gets sent. And James has somehow dragged the brake and gone to the back. There's cars flying off the track everywhere around track as we come out through the chicanes. Kelvin goes to the race lead. Eric Tufar into the second spot as we come down into the very tricky double apex. A long sweeping right-hander before you tap the brake and turn in again. And then always feel like you've washed off too much speed as you come out of the corner and make the run towards the long left-hander. Opens up towards the back end of the corner and you're going to carry a lot of throttle on exit before the short shoot into the roller coaster chicane. Someone's phone ringing out there in the centre. I think it's Brian's phone, someone ringing from home saying, what did you do at the start? Through the chicane, Kelvin, your leader on lap 1. This is a half an hour race, and if lap 1's anything to go by, plenty of carnage yet to be seen. Tyre temperatures have been the name of the game so far tonight. Qualifying time, a 1 minute 29.7 set by Brian Chu on absolutely torched left side tyres, making their way around this 3.5 kilometre circuit. Kelvin Weed down the front straight for the first time. Eric Tufar into the second spot. The battle here, Vong Do and Brian Chu coming down the main straight. 900 metres of flat out action. Brian going to try and tuck into the fourth spot here and see if he can put pressure on. Having a big look into turn 1 and is very late on the brakes. Brian Chu makes the move stick and picks up the third spot. Something's happened further up at the pointy end as well. Eric Tufar has gone to the pole spot. Kelvin has dropped down to P4 through turns 2 and 3. Oh, and a big lose through the right-hander. Kelvin getting all crossed up, manages to gather it up. He put the move on Terence for just a second. Sorry, Vong, I should say. Here's Eric now. Has the race lead through the long left-hander. Brian Chen picks it up actually, went around the outside of him with the long left-hander onto the short straight. For under the banner and hard on the brakes. Into the chicane, a big bite at the curb and all crossed up for Brian. He manages to gather it up. Shortcutting onto the racetrack again. It's all happening behind him. We've got to jump in on this action here. What is going on in this battle pack? Vong trying to battle with Kelvin. Oh no, Kelvin loops it around at the second to last corner. Fires it into the inside barrier. He's got Eric up his backside as they come into the final corner and embark their way down the 900 metre long front straight once again. Brian's taunting them out the front as he weaves his way back and forth down the main straight. They're all trying to break the slipstream here. Vong Do, we follow along coming down into turn 1. Eric is going to put a move up the inside though and have a crack. Locks up a little bit of the brake and drags it all the way to the apex. He's going to get a better run, but he's on the outside. Can he get his way around? And Eric goes to the 2 spot. Nice job done there from the 146 machine of Eric Tufar. 1.5 seconds off the back of Brian Chen, your fastest qualifier, who got absolutely sent on lap 1. He's going to try and build himself up a buffer now. Time management is going to be the name of the game. We'll check in, and you can see Brian Chu from where I'm sitting. His left side tyres are absolutely cooked already. We jump on with him and see what we can spot from his driving side inside the cockpit as we follow him around the rest of this lap. Brian using all of the exit at that tight left-hander. Opening things up is going to be hard on the brakes in just a second. Down to second gear and pulling it up right on the apex. Trying to manage his throttle input here as he's tried to handicap himself by turning off all the traction control assists. Or at least I tried to handicap him for the sake of everyone else as he bleeds in full throttle in fifth gear again. Hard on the brakes and pointing it straight at the apex. Brian taking a very creative line to make the braking zone just that little bit longer. Darting things across the racetrack, very wide at the double right hander though, starting to really torture those left side tyres. As the tyre graph on his screen is glowing bright orange. Holding lock and throttle through the long right handing corners really tortures the tyres here at Dubai Autodrome. Go back trackside as Brian has opened up a healthy lead now. Go back to Vong Du, trying to put some pressure for the third spot on James Cham. Samuel Cham just a moment further behind in P5. That gap sits at 6 seconds between 4th and 5th at the moment. Calvin Wee, what happened to him? He's dropped all the way down to the 6th spot. Getting it all wrong in the chicane, just blasting his way through the NGK barrier. I'm sure NGK spark plugs wouldn't appreciate destroying their merchandise on track. Oh, Vuong has looped it. The tyre's starting to get well and truly cooked now, and this is where the race can change. The imaginary crowd on the right-hand side of screen absolutely loving it. Our third place driver has lost it as well. James has spun it around, coming onto the main straight. He's looped it. He's going to drop down to P4 now. Samuel Cham now goes to the third spot. Brian Chen is your leader. Eric Tufa second. Samuel Cham in third. 4 seconds the gap for Brian Chen out front, turning off traction control. Not enough of a handicap to draw him back into the rest of the field. As lap cars starting to come into play, we'll pull up the track map on the right-hand side of your screen so we can see what cars go where. James coming up on the back of Sam for third. Lap cars not coming into play yet, but I'm sure they will by the end of this one with enough cars doing donuts when the left side tyres decide to give away. Brian's made a mistake on track as well. He's dropped back to second. Eric has now gone to the race lead with a 3-second gap. Fast lap of the race. Looks like it's Brian. With 22.5 minutes to go. And everyone fighting over the same piece of real estate. I think you guys are meant to go around those curves in the chicane. I think we might go for some off-road racing next time we bring these guys back. Seems like the jumps suit them better. Eric Tufa is your race leader with the best lap of a 132.7. He has a 2.8 second margin over Brian Chu at the moment. His hot lap of 131.6. And Samuel Chen into the third spot. With the best lap last time across, a 132.5. He has himself just a few tenths of a second over Vong Du in the fourth spot. big action here. Vong Do getting caught up. These guys don't know how to keep away from each other and make a pass in a clean manner, it seems. And they're enjoying the fact that damage is turned off for tonight's racing. Thursday night Stimulator racing. Brian Chu is closer gap. Let's see if he can get it done cleanly on Eric Tufar. We'll pick up with Brian in second as they bring it around the second to last corner before the run down to that final hairpin. Eric, oh no, Eric gets all loose coming onto the front straight and just gives it on a golden platter to Brian, who's put in a 1 minute 30.1. Eric will be hating himself for that, but now he can tuck in and just hope that Brian makes a mistake again, as we're almost 1/3 of the way through the feature race. 20 minutes left to go. Oh, I can see how Eric's closing the gap on Brian, completely foregoing the fact there's a curb there as they come around the back before the run into the long right hand, and this is where it torches the right hand side tyres. Brian's tyres glowing orange. And some of the best tyres are actually coming out of fourth place driver at the moment. James Cham seems to be the man with the best tyres so far, but he's dropped all the way back to the fourth spot and he's 10 seconds off the race lead. Brian just holding on to the race lead at the moment from Eric as they come into the chicanes. Eric has cut all of them, trying to close the gap, and he brings it down to half a second, but then he's wide at the hairpin. As they come around and Eric is just absolutely sent all the way off the road into the runoff area, trying to maximize the speed he can close onto the back of Brian. So they come onto the main straight. 19 minutes left to go here at Dubai Autodrome. Brian weaving left and right down the main straight, trying to break the slipstream from Eric. Cuts across under brakes. Eric has locked it up. We'll pick up with Eric and see whether we can find where he's making up this time. We'll go on board. As we come into the long right-hander. This is the battle for the lead. Brian is a little bit wide, but he corrects it and cuts across the racetrack. A little bit of a lock-up under brakes, and Eric is right on his rear bumper as they come into one of the very few left-hand corners on the track. Eric very wide in the entry, trying to straighten it up and get a clean run to the exit, and has to wind the wheel back into it. Standing on the brakes underneath the banner into the shortcut, taking the diversion of what would be the JIT Grand Prix layout. Eric has cooked his tyres and sends it around in the chicanes. That gives away the race lead to Brian now, who's going to try and open this one up. Let's check in with some of the close battles we have elsewhere on the track. Kelvin. Where is Kelvin going? There he goes. He found the racetrack again. He just lost it in the chicanes by the look. He's dropped down to the 6th spot now. As he drops in behind Julius and Samuel in 4th and 5th. He's going to watch this battle. Samuel very wide. Kelvin bombing it into the final corner. Nowhere near the apex. He's going to take the long way around the outside and rejoin on the front straight. 17 minutes to go. We'll go back outside the car and follow along. We pick up with Samuel Champ. Hard under brakes into turn 1 as he's trying to chase Julius Yap for the 4th position. As Eric Tufar leads. Brian Chen into the 2nd spot. James Cham into 3rd. I mean, let's just forget about the chicane altogether. Samuel and Kelvin jumping through the chicane, fighting for the 5th spot. Kelvin lost out big time on the landing. Samuel managed to keep it together. It is lost it though. Fires it into the inside barrier. The back end getting very loose once you start to wear these tyres and they feed a bumper to each other. Going through, Samuel gets absolutely sent by Kelvin coming onto the main straight. They drop Sam back down to the 6th spot now. Kelvin elevates himself up into P5 and Julius survives the battle that was coming his way. He'll go to P4 and stay there. The battle is back on at the front though between Brian Chu, who locks it up and fires it on the inside of Eric for the lead. We grab that in good time as they come through the left-handers. A lot of banking on that corner right at the back end of the circuit before they come down the short chute and take off to the right onto the national layout cut through. Eric is a bit quicker through that section, using more of the curbs and jumping over the AstroTurf painted sections. He comes out on the inside of the track. 0.6 of a second the gap as we're into the second half of this race. Tyres will be absolutely fried by now. Brian's are getting even worse on the left side. Those poor Michelin Pilot Sport 4s underneath the Porsche Cayman GT4 car. Absolutely torched for all of the drivers in the field. 0.6 of a second covers your top two at the moment. We'll check in on the timings as we are well and truly across halfway. James Chapman the 3rd. Julius Yap in the 4th. Kelvin Wui into the 5th spot. Samuel Cham in 6th. Vincent Tan in 7th. Vong Do has dropped down to the 8th spot. And Terence Ho in P9. We're going to check in with Vong in P8. And we'll turn the timings off so we can see what's going on. He's got a bit of action happening in front of him here. Vincent Tan just up the road. And Samuel Cham just up further. So they come down hard under the brakes into turn 1. Looked like he wasn't going to make the corner for a second. He gathers it all up and Samuel's gone around at turn 1 facing the wrong way. And I think that might have had something to getting together with Vincent there. As Vincent lost some time and he's under a huge amount of pressure from Vong, who fires it straight across the inside of the corner. Shortcut the racetrack and find your way around. Vincent closes right up to his rear bumper. And he's going to go back to the spot. And they come up side by side on the exit. Great battle switching and swapping inside and outside as they come out of the long right-handers. With a long sweeping and banked left-hand turn before the short chute down towards the chicanes. Who's going to be braver in the chicanes? Or so to speak, who's going to shortcut them more? Vincent has a look to the inside but can't get there. They both go around. No, they don't. Vaughn goes straight over the top of the centre. Vincent running very wide at the left-hander. Oh, that's why he's going to try and shortcut across the inside. Oh, he's got it all crossed up though, Vincent. Managed to gather it up, but lost up the time. And Vong is just driving very cautiously coming onto the main straight. Doesn't want to overcook the tyres with 12 minutes of racing left to go. Terence Ho out the back of the field in the Falcon Tyres livery. Having a nice Thursday night Stimulator drive by himself at the moment. He's 45 seconds off the race lead. And unfortunately doesn't have too much action happening around him on track. As we're getting some action happening. James has gone back to the top spot now. James Cham really fighting his way forward in this grid. Coming through the second to last corner, Brian is hot on his heels as they come down and trying to keep it together. And James has been much better at looking after his tyres. In fact, these guys have somehow returned onto good old and green tyres the last couple of laps, so they've really looked after them. Brian is going to try a big move up the inside. Can he stop for the corner? And James just let him go. Brian goes to the race lead. Eric shortcut in the left-hander once again, trying to close the gap and force a fight, a three-way battle for the race lead with just over 10 minutes left to go. This is Thursday night Stimulator racing. And Brian Chu back to the top spot. We're going to follow James on board for the next lap and a bit, see if he can close the gap to the back of Brian. Was a drag race down the front straight between James and Brian. Now James has gone back to the pointy end, but you can see in his rear vision mirror Brian is looking for a way around as he comes up and gives him just a little rub of the rear bumper. And Brian's going to have a big look down the inside into the chicanes. Eric is right there still as they switch around. Let's ride along with Eric and see if we can get a good look from his perspective. We'll jump on top of the roof of his car. Make full use of the available cameras we have from the Project Cars 2 platform. Through the hard right. The tyres are starting to get cooked again between Brian and James. They've dipped off into the 1 minute 32s now. 8 minutes left to go. Eric is in this fight. It's going to be a three-way battle for the race lead, and Brian is just toying with him, pulling aside down the front straight to let him go by. Eric senses the opportunity, tries to dive down the inside. Big lock up from James at the pointy end though. Eric gets around Brian and shortcuts the inside of the left-hander. They know what happens. Eric is absolutely flying with 7.5 minutes left to go. James out front though. Eric in second. Brian Chu back to the third spot after being the outright quickest in the half-an-hour qualifying session. Finding himself trying to put some pressure on Eric right on his rear bumper as they come up the hill. Hard on the brakes and into the tight section again. Who's going to jump the chicane? Eric cops a serving under brakes from Brian. And decides to shortcut the chicane to try and make up the time. 6 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. A three-way fight for the lead on Thursday night Stimulator racing. Eric is sideways, trying to gather it up and keep control. James running all the way out to the rumble strip onto the front straight. Eric is going to drag race him down the front straight. Brian can get involved in this one as well. He's going to try and thread it around him somehow. We're going to go touching mirrors. Under brakes into turn one, and we're three wide into turn one, and Brian just sails on through. Eric going the wrong side of the curb as Brian Chu goes to the lead, but Eric shortcuts the corner. Brian darts back across and covers off a line. Eric sideways coming out of the right-hander. Eric Tufa into the second spot. James has dropped back a little bit now in third. He's a second further behind this battle as we're coming up to the final 5 minutes of racing. Despite all the numerous track cuts, the racing's been relatively clean. And some good battles as James is just firing it into the side of Eric. Eric goes around at the hairpin. Just goes racing straight across the inside of the infield and loses it again on the rejoin. Eric has gone from bad to worse here and really lost out. He's in third and he's some 15 seconds clear of Julius in the fourth spot. As we'll check in on your timings. Brian Chu, your race leader. James Chapman to second. Eric just dropping down to the third spot here. Julius Yap in P4. Kelvin Wee in the P5. Vong Do in 6. Vincent Tan in 7. Samuel Chapman 8. And Terence Ho rounding out your 9-car field with a hot lap of a 1:30.1 from Brian Chu. As he leads by 0.6 of a second. We'll jump forward and pick up with James, who was just the culprit of sending Eric facing the wrong direction at the hairpin. As they crisscross into the long and tightening right-hander, and the question has just been asked in racecraft simulations, are we waiting for Eric? So Eric says he is on his way, and these two are going to roll it around a little bit slower for just a moment. Eric is going to arrive on the scene at absolute full noise. And these two are rolling down into the chicanes at 60k an hour. So it's back on with a 3-car battle for the race lead with 3 minutes and 35 left to go. Brian Chu, James Chum and Eric Tufa in the battle as they come out of the hairpin that saw Eric facing the wrong direction a moment ago. Brian's deciding to wait a little bit more. He's going to drop to the back of this battle pack and see if he can pick him off. As James reclaims the race lead, handed to him by Brian. They come down the main straight, 3 minutes and 10 left to go. Two and a half minutes to go, and we're side by side into the right-handers. Brian saw an opportunity and sent it. Eric is sideways under brakes and into the back of Brian. Oh no, Brian's around. Eric fires into him. This has released James well and truly out front. James Cham out front and leading this one away. Brian hard under the brakes and takes a shortcut, and they're going to go straight over the chicanes. No, they actually went through relatively clean. Brian Chu in second as James has checked up and waited for them. We're going to have a 3-car battle with 1:45 left to go. Eric sideways. Oh no, he's lost it. He's thrown it away with less than 2 minutes left to go. Eric has given away the battle for third, and we've got a drag race down the front straight between James and Brian. Having a peek across through their side windows to check on each other. Brian has the inside line. Surely he's going to be better under brakes. And takes the race lead once again. Not bad considering he was pretty much down and out a moment ago. Sideways through the left-hander. Those cooked left side tyres making it very hard to negotiate the weight transfer on the car. And the final minute to win it is here. 1 minute to go for Thursday night Stimulator racing. Brian Chu, your top qualifier, leads away from James Cham into the second spot. Eric Tufa in third. Kelvin Louis in the fourth spot. Julius Yap in P5. Final check of the remaining order. Vong Do in 6, Vincent Tan in 7, Samuel Cham in the 8 spot, Terence Ho in 9. These guys are going to go hammer and tong to the finish. 25 seconds left to go as they come around the second last corner. James is going to have a crack, but can't get close enough just yet. They're going to get one more lap to try and get it done around Dubai Autodrome. Hard under the brakes into the final corner. Could be setting up a drag race once again. Looks like James is too far back. Brian's going to beat up on him for the next 3.5 kilometres of this racing circuit. One lap to go. That is the end of our allocated time. And Brian under brakes into turn 1 for the final time. Can James force an issue up the inside? He's actually on track to set his best lap if the first sector is anything to go by. As they come through the left-right section for the final time. 1.3 seconds is the gap. James is sideways. Oh, and he just gathers up. No, fires it back the other way. James gives away his chance to challenge on the final lap, and Brian Chu is going to roll it on around. The tyres absolutely cooked on the car. His final attempt at the chicane. I'll follow him through as he makes his way cleanly through the right, left, and then left again for the final time. Down the hill once more and into the final corner. Brian Chu has survived an eventful race and had some fun with the boys on a Thursday night for good measure. And taking the win. Thursday night Stimulator racing goes to Brian Chu with a celebratory donut across the finish line. James Champ brings it around the final corner and picks up second. He does it and goes a flick the other way. Keeps it off the wall this time. James comes second. Kelvin bringing it around for third is going to beat out Eric Tufa at the line. Eric home for fourth. Julius Yap will bring it around in P5 to finish as the middle car in the field. Vong Do comes home in P6 after half an hour of racing. As Vincent Tan looks like he's just found trouble in the second last corner. Rejoins pretty slowly, but he's going to just hold on to the 7th spot. From a hard-charging James Champ right at the end. Vincent claims P7. Samuel Cham, I should say, comes home P8. And Terence Ho will bring it around the final couple of corners to round out your 9-car field. That was Thursday night Stimulator racing. Congratulations to Brian Chu, your race winner from tonight's 30-minute endeavour after taking the top qualifier spot. Join us next time as we bring you another edition. For now, it's been a fantastic night here at Racecraft Simulations.